Most people miss that about you. And I watch them wondering how they can watch you bring their food, clear their tables, and never get that they just met the greatest woman alive. And the fact that I get it makes me feel good about me.
Hey, what's going on? This is Kris Legion. Thank you for tuning in. We are, for the first time, multi-streaming on a bunch of platforms. Welcome. I am now doing some streaming off of INN. Thanks to Indian Reef for getting me set up. Right now, we are on Rockfin. We are on Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and a couple Facebook Live, a couple of other platforms. So yes, it's gonna be a quick stream tonight. We're not gonna go crazy, but thanks for everyone coming in, for Reef and Indy over here in the chat. What's going on? We're gonna start in a few seconds. Before we're gonna see who's popped in here to say hello. Hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. It's a late night live stream. Late for me anyway. So it's cool. It's cool being on Rockfin for the first time on the INN channel. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Let's see, making sure everything is working, that you guys can hear me, that you guys can see me. You know. All right, very good. We got a little quick show for you today. We're going to be talking about a few different things. As soon as we get a few more people in the chat to watch, then we will start. You know, we'll see what's going on Twitter. We'll see what's going on YouTube. Got a video from Richard Medhurst we're going to go over, which I find very interesting about the Queen. I despise idolization, especially of monarchies. It's ridiculous, like, to me. One of the dumbest things that the human species is into. Colin, welcome to the chat. Yes. I'm looking on, I got my YouTube chat up. I got my Restream chat. I can't reply to all my other, every chat because it won't let me. All I can do is read it, but I can reply to you on the YouTube chat. Let's see here. But I can just talk to you, so I don't have to write anything down, right? So, but thank you for tuning in. All right. And basically, I guess we can start. Let me just check out what's going on here. Let's go see what's going on. I'm going to make sure that my stream is going through on Twitter. Let's see here. So far, so good. All right, let me delete. Oh, okay. I'll put that there. All right. So that looks good to me. Looks like the stream is going good. And I guess we can start. All right, so what do we have today? Well, I'm going to start off. I don't take pleasure in talking about this. I don't really want to talk about it. So we're going to go over it super fast. And I'll give you my quick thoughts on this whole thing. And then we'll just breeze through it because I don't want it taking up time. It's just a waste of breath. But as you know, on Twitter, the latest Twitter feud for the left, excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. Latest feud for the left is the Jackson Hinkle and the Benjamin Norton feud, mostly Jackson Hinkle. There's a huge argument on Twitter. So to put a long story short, most of you know, Hinkle has decided to do this sort of this unity thing with MAGA, to do communists with MAGA. I don't know if this is just sort of some trolling thing that he's doing, or if he really means this thing, and this is some sort of like attempt to do some sort of unity thing with MAGA to maybe hopefully turn them into communists. But yeah, it's pretty silly. It's a really dumb thing, but it all started when he did this appearance on Fox News on Tucker Carlson. So let's check it out real fast.
Jackson, thanks so much for coming on. So there's something really, look, I understand people are partisan on TV. There's a lot of pressure to take your side. But for Biden to get up there and say the single biggest threat to our country is anyone who opposes me in the coming midterm elections, and the media to nod along, makes you think we've crossed some kind of line.
We have crossed the line, Tucker, and it's so interesting that, anyone in the media today would be saying that they liked what Joe Biden said in that speech because it was a dictator-inspired speech. Not only that, but it seems like a lot of the practices and the actions that the Biden administration is employing in the United States right now that were reflected in that speech are very closely aligned with what the dictator Zelensky is doing in Ukraine. Joe Biden is plunging us into a fascist state, and he is taking cues from what Zelensky is doing in Ukraine to manufacture this dystopian state and this dystopian reality in America. And there's no real surprise for me there, because at the end of the day, Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, and Joe Biden are controlled by the same exact people. They're controlled by individuals like George Soros and controlled by people like Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, and they're going to do whatever they want. To put it quite simply, Zelensky is using the intelligence community in Ukraine and the Nazi Azov thugs in Ukraine to silence freedom-loving Ukrainians. Joe Biden in the United States, though he can't remember what he had for breakfast this morning or who his wife is, his handlers and his cronies are prepping the CIA, the FBI, Antifa, the IRS, and now Ministry of Truth to attack freedom-loving Americans.
Maybe someone should have in the opposition.
First of all, I was like, that stupid look that Tucker gives, the dumb, confused look, is ridiculously stupid. And I can't say what I wanted to do, because then I would get, suspended. But it's dumb. Like, don't look at me like that in person. You might get,
Opposition party, the one he's calling effectively illegal, should have paused before funding this insanity in Ukraine, which is tanking our economy and making a mockery of democracy, before signing off on it and just putting Ukrainian flag lapel pins on and nodding dutifully to Joe Biden. Why didn't anyone do that?
You'd think that they do that, but so many of these individuals in Washington, D.C., the neoconservatives, the rhinos, and the entire Democratic Party are beholden to the military-industrial complex. And that is extremely out of line with what average Americans need right now. We don't have clean drinking water in Jackson, Mississippi, yet we're sending $7 billion over to Ukraine, a country that I'm sure most of these Congress people couldn't even point to on a map. It's insane. The White House this week, Tucker, I'm sure you saw, came out and said that anyone who doesn't hold an opinion reflected by the majority of the American public is extreme and therefore an extremist. Well, what does that make Joe Biden? Only 38% of Americans, if you believe the polls and what they tell us, if you believe they're that high, only 38% of Americans agree with Joe Biden. So by the White House's own definition, that makes him an extremist.
Yeah, and so much for minority rights also. I mean, I thought you were allowed
like
to
Tucker
disagree.
gives a shit about
this really is
minority rights.
quite a moment we're living through. Jack?
All right. So there's a lot of validity to what Jackson said here, but it seems like when he got out of the interview, he was really into doing some sort of unity thing with MAGA. We have to I laughing at it because I know it's never going to happen, but kudos for trying, Jackson. But anyway, listen, try not to focus too much on this. I was going to do like more of like coverage on it because he did get into an argument with Ben Norton. Here it is here. Ben Norton pretty much used this opportunity to go after Jackson and basically put up an old video of Jackson saying that he does everything for clout. So, I mean, listen, it's ridiculous stuff. I would say we have more important things to worry about, more important things to focus on. And how about we just really focus on the issues that matter so far, like Jackson and Mississippi, which he brought up in Tucker, which is a good thing, by the way. And also basically what's going on in Ukraine and all these things. Let's not go into the personal beef on this situation. But I mean, there's both things. Like I disagree with Jackson on a lot of those issues with MAGA, but I mean, a lot of his foreign policy is actually based, and so far as Ben Norton, a lot of his foreign policy is based, and I disagree with him on a lot of the COVID things. So I'm taking the parts that I agree with him on. I'm not going to get into the stupid beef, and we'll see what happens. I mean, don't give it your time, your energy is just not even worth it. So that's all I want to say on that. I really, really don't want to get into it because it's just giving it more exposure. So for the next thing we're going to go into, I wanted to cover was, basically something a little more important and stuff that we should be focusing on. So let's go over to the next story. Let me see. Let me read off the chat, see if anybody has anything to say. Let's go. Where are we? All right. Hey, Matt, welcome to the chat. Let's see. Yes. He does that confused look all the time, pretends like he's confused, and it's just a stupid stunt. But it's like he does it in every video, like every time he interviews someone. Like, huh? What? Let's see. Let's check my other chats here. Kellyanne, welcome to the video, to the stream. We're carrying signs now. Welcome to the stream. I wish I could scroll down on this one, on my multi-stream chat, but I can't scroll down on it. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, maybe if I make it bigger, I can see everything. Yep, very good. All right. I'm just going to make my chat big so I can see everything here. So I have everything like minimized. All right. So the next story basically is an important one. And we'll go over it real quick. Oh, yeah. Let me push this down here. Rifa, what's up? Yes, Hillary got her heat lamp. Let's see. Okay, so let's go into the next one. So this is a thread I found on Twitter. I found a really good thread, and we'll show it here. This is from Africa X5 TV on Twitter. Go check them out. But this dropped on the 14th of September. She tweeted this thread out, or he tweeted this thread, whoever it is behind there. And it says, leaked Hillary Clinton emails reveal NATO killed Gaddafi to stop the formation of the United States of Africa. So we've always talked about this. And it was never proven. So this is apparent leaks that actually prove, us on the activist left, anti-imperialists, that basically Hillary Clinton and they, under the Obama administration, basically organized this assassination to kill Gaddafi. And it was all due to, well, we'll just read the thread and we'll go through the thread. So the whole thread goes, of 3,000 emails released from Hillary Clinton private email server in late December 2015, about a third were from her close confidant, Sidney Blumenthal. One of these emails, dated April 2nd, 2011, read in part, Gaddafi's government holds more than 143 tons of gold and a similar amount in silver. This gold was accumulated prior to the current rebellion and was intended to be used to establish a pan-African currency based on the Libyan gold dinar. Now, for those of you who are old enough, like myself, from the 80s, Gaddafi was framed as a terrorist. He was framed as Libyans, I think something with the airliner, where Libyans hijacked an airliner. He was directly accused of conducting that operation. And Israel, he was like Israel's number one enemy. So far, like what they say about bin Laden and stuff. He was the bad guy in the 80s. He was the guy that they all hated. And all those movies in the 80s where Libyan terrorists running around was all designed for you to hate Libyans, right? Through imperialism. So I just remember that. So Gaddafi was always hated by the intelligence community and the Mossad and all those people. But as Americans, we're kept in the dark on how he really is, like most people in other parts of the world that America portrays as enemies. We are kept in the dark because Americans are not culturally aware of the world around them. We're basically here inside the United States. People are very bad as far as geography, knowing where countries are, knowing the realities of the world outside the United States. And we are taught to hate people that we have no clue who they are. But let's keep going with the thread. The plan was designed to provide the Francophone African countries, I hope I butchered that word, with an alternative to the French franc. In the source comment, the original declassification, this declassified email added. Okay, so right now they're using French currency. I think they were using French currency in Libya. Let's see here. And so let's keep going. According to the knowledgeable individuals, this quantity of gold and silver is valued at more than 7 billion. French intelligence officers discovered this plan shortly after the current rebellion began, and this was one of the factors that influenced President Nicolas Sarkozy's decision to commit France to the attack on Libya. According to these individuals, Sarkozy's plans are driven by the following issues: a desire to gain a greater share of Libyan oil production or increase French influence in North Africa. 3, improve his international political situation in France, provide the French military with the opportunity to reassert its position in the world. And 5, address the concern of his advisors over Gaddafi's long-term plans to supplant France as the dominant power in the Francophone Africa. let's see here. Conspicuously absent is any mention of humanitarian concerns. Of course, they don't care about the people there. The objectives were to get rid of unification of Africa, money, power, and oil. So no one wants a unified Africa because Africa is basically so rich in minerals, gold, diamonds, you name it, natural resources, that it could be its own powerhouse. If Africa was to unite, it would be its own powerhouse, own economic powerhouse, and would basically dominate the world economically. But you can't have that because it's, it's not where white Europeans come from, where, so you can't have dark-skinned people having power like that, right? Basically, Gaddafi and Obama were best friends, but since Obama was now on the West, I don't know about them being best friends there, but since Obama was on the West side, making the matters worse as the president of the U.S., the West broke their friendship. This is what Gaddafi said about Obama, his friend, wanting him dead. Obama wants to kill me, to take away the freedom of our country, to take away our free housing, our free medicine, our free education, our free food, and replace it with American-style thievery called capitalism. But all of us in the third world know that what that means. It means corporations run the countries, run the world, and the people suffer. One, Obama was never his friend. Two, Obama's a puppy, just does what he's told. And three, Obama's a PR person. He's there just to sell the idea and to, his job is just to sell the idea to keep the people in check and not to rebel and go along with the terrible foreign policy decisions which murdered hundreds of thousands across the world during his presidency. The mainstream media will never tell you this. The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. And that is power because they control the minds of the masses, which is very true. So that's the thread. Not very long thread, but I didn't see anything on the documents here, so I'm looking for the documents. But yeah. So if you want, you can go check out those documents. I'm sure they're out there. If you want to check out the leaked documents. But I thought that story was very, very interesting. It just shows you how basically just another proven fact of how, we're not spreading democracy. We're out there just to loot loot all the nations of the world that don't play ball. So I thought that was a very interesting story. And once again, let's go look at the shout outs. Let's go look out, see who's coming in here. All right, very good. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. Hope so. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I got some more on the chats. All right. Yeah, I mean, Hillary Clinton is like in everything. It's horrible. It's like, yeah, she's into everything. I mean, I think the real interesting stuff about the Clintons is actually before, when he was governor, when Bill Clinton was governor, all the shit. When they're doing that stuff at Alwood North. Well, that shit is like nuts. Just some crazy wild stuff. So let's see here. Welcome to the chat. Human Love Solidarity. Anybody got any questions or want me to show you anything? Yes, what difference does it make? Yeah. The funny thing is like, if we were ever had to have a conflict here, they go into hiding and we have to fight it, right? That's how it usually works. So let's look up. Let me make sure I got my right chat over here. Okay. Orange Duke, welcome to the chat, man. Yeah, when she was shipping doing the whole cocaine thing. The two guys that were in the I think it was the train yard, they stumbled upon like a deal and they took him out, murdered him, and then Bill Clinton covered it up. All that stuff. I mean, I did into the story a while ago, so I don't remember all the details of it. A lot of stuff during his governorship was just mad illegal and shit. It's crazy. But things are getting so bad now that all that stuff, they can do it right in front of our faces, and they won't get in trouble for it. They'll say, no, they can't get arrested. That's diplomatic immunity. But that's crazy. It's nice to have you, Duke, because, man, I don't see you too much on Twitter anymore. But thanks for coming out in the chat. All right, so we're going to go to a video because I'm going to go into the next story. And this is a story that just bothers me and annoys me. So I figure we talk about it. All right. Let's go to the next one. I'll bring it up. This is a video I wanted to go over. So, as you know, if you haven't heard the news yet, which I think everyone has because it's been drilled into us, like does not stop through the annoying mainstream media. The Queen died. She's dead. And it was about time. And I can't wait till Henry Kissinger dies. But, I'll take her for now. But, there's just a big hoopla about how, the people who just love watching TV and just follow TV and just do whatever TV tells them, just freaking out. Like they had a personal, like the Queen's personal phone number, and they were calling her every night, and she was singing them lullabies to bed. And she helped birth them from their moms when they were born. Like they just really, really attached to her. But they know very little about the Queen. They just know that the media says that she's an amazing person, and she shits gold bricks, things like that, and they just believe it, right? Like the stuff that they used to complain about North Korea, right? With Kim Jong-il, and how they said he'd never defecated and he could fly over mountains and shit. Well, the same thing can be applied to the Queen with these people who are fanatical, and it's the idol worship thing that's crazy, and I don't understand it. And it's not, we like to brag in this country about how we don't do that stuff here, but we do. We don't have king and queens, but they're no different from celebrities and people in acting and athletes and things of that nature. There are queens and kings and queens over here in the States, politicians especially. So they're really no different. They're the same. We have the same thing here. We just because they don't have the title doesn't mean shit. But Richard Madhurst goes over this, and I thought I wanted to go over this. I didn't see this video, and I thought it'd be fun to check it out. So let's go over this one. I think it's gonna be good.
The Queen's dead, old boy. Yes, she passed away sadly. Here's a headline from the BBC. Queen Elizabeth II has died. The whole world is in mourning.
High quality music and sound effects that you can actually afford.
All right. Let's check it out here. 1 second.
People say, Mr. Richard Thomas Medhurst, you're British. Why aren't you mourning the Queen? And I say to you, who is she?
King Charles. We have King Charles now.
I really want to know who this woman is. And why she was just born into a ruling family and we're supposed to accept that. I do not understand this concept. Now, if you support monarchy, you're a royalist.
So kings and queens, of Europe, if we go back to the origin, I think they claim like they're directly related to like the Hebrews or something, or in Middle East or something. Like they made their own divine right, like to basically be like divine. Like that, they just made it up out of nowhere. Just people that probably had, you know, wealth and money in the beginning, and just, you know, just, hey, I'm a king, I'm a queen.
At least own it. At least come out and say, yes, I
like
love
queens.
the Queen. I love King Charles. Again, who is this guy? I love King Charles. I love all of the crap they did to the whole world, right? All the nasty misdeeds, massacres, genocides, occupations that the British Empire inflicted on the planet.
Now, according to the sycophants, that never happened. The queen just sat in her throne room and did nice things for people, but no, they never did any of those horrible things that Richard Madhurst just mentioned. So the cult, she didn't do any of that. The cult doesn't think that way.
I just want to show you who our new king is. Apparently, this is our new king, apparently.
Yeah, there was a leaked video of like the nudist running out. That was actually a movie, like, or a show or something, making fun of them. But it looked like it was done like, you know, one of those real-time videos. But yeah, that was a fake video.
Don't know who makes these decisions. King Charles III. This is his first address. And mind you, he has a pretty good radio voice, right? As they say. I'll just play very briefly in random point.
Her dedication and devotion.
Yeah, human love. Yeah, I mean, I mean, the way we are now, they don't care. They know what happened, and they agree with it, and they don't give a shit. Like, you know, I mean, we're supporting Nazis in Ukraine, so I mean, right? Pretty much now it's all in the open. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, they could Gaddafi killed them, you know, and Cenk was a little happy about it, screaming like an idiot, like a, you know, an infant in a man suit.
Devotion as sovereign never wavered through times of change.
Yes, boy, her dedication never wavered through times of change. So that's our new king, apparently. I want to show you all the ghouls who made it to the show. So during King Charles' proclamation, look who we have here. We have Tony Blair, the snake. We have Keir Starmer over here, who's now heading the Labour Party. We have Boris Johnson over there. I think this is Gordon Brown. I'm not sure, though. Anyway, it's just a bunch.
Do you think like it's an advantage to us now that our leaders are all stupid, you know, or it was worse than they were smart and they can get away with more shit? Or is it just so blatantly obvious and like people are so like indoctrinated now? It doesn't matter if you have dumb people in power or whatever they do. The media will make sure that people like just do whatever they tell them.
Bunch of ghouls, right? Because usually, if you get there, if you're invited to these things, and I'm not saying everyone in the room is necessarily a ghoul, but this bunch certainly is. People have gone insane. Like, if you are in England, you will see the Queen literally everywhere. I just want to show you this clip over here. Look at the Queen.
Terrible.
This is in the tube in the London Underground. Okay, take a look. She's literally everywhere. They've plastered her face everywhere. And again, you might be thinking, well, yeah, of course she's the head of state. Who elected her the head of state? Who made this decision that she's the head of state? There? I certainly didn't have a say in that. Everywhere, bloody everywhere. You cannot escape it.
In North Korea, it was like the story was that they had a picture of the leader over there, but I think it was back in the days. It was like it has to be in like every house, so he has to be like watching you. And I don't see a difference here.
I can't tell if they're in support of the Queen or against her, but this mural is really something. People have gone so crazy. People have gone so bananas over the Queen. They are literally seeing things. They've literally gone nuts. Here's a headline from Metro that says that people have been spotting more Queen-shaped clouds during the moment of her death. I really don't know what to say. This is just embarrassing now. This is embarrassing. It's a cloud, man. She's not.
Well, I looked at my toast. It looked like the Queen this morning, but it wasn't. I was very disappointed.
A saint. She's not some godly figure. It's a cloud, dude. And the worst part is if...
Did they do like the grilled cheese sandwich with her yet? Like the grilled cheese sandwich looks like the Queen.
If you open your mouth, if you say something, right, like, hold on a second, I thought we're a democracy. Why do we have a Queen? They'll shut you up. You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say anything that makes sense because you will get arrested. I'm not even kidding. You have several people now that have been arrested in the UK for protesting the monarchy, right? Now, in one case, there was a bit of heckling going on. I'll show you the video in a second, but look at this headline over here. This is from Global News. Say at least 3 people arrested over protests following Queen's death. Okay, so this is from Reuters originally. Scottish police said they have made 3 arrests in Edinburgh relating to breaches of the peace. Breaches of the peace. I mean, this sounds like something.
Listen, I think there was like one where the funeral procession was going down and some guy was yelling, but I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Medieval, because it is medieval. This is medieval. This is something from the 15th century.
Yeah,
Breaches of the peace. Order! Order! Silence!
Dingo ate my baby. Welcome to the stream.
Breach of the peace. Here's someone heckling Prince Andrew.
Yeah, let's get that out of there. Let's get that one out. I hate commercials for YouTube. Is that pain in the butt? All right, let's start it up. There's the one. I think they got sent to the tower.
This woman, if I'm not mistaken, was also arrested, at least heckled by police, because she's holding up a sign that says, "Not my king." Here's a 22-year-old woman arrested after holding...
And the Prince Andrew actually is going to be doing royal duties while King Charles, I keep calling him Prince Charles, but King Charles is away. You're going to have a pedophile running the UK, you know? Oh, they're going to pretend Parliament runs it, but yeah.
Holding up this anti-monarchy placard. This is in Scotland as well, in Edinburgh, right? So she's been charged with breach of the peace. Her placard reads imperialism. Well, I think it says fuck imperialism, and then abolish monarchy. You can't talk about the Queen and then ignore imperialism. This is an oxymoron. This is a juxtaposition. You can't do this. You can't do this. If you love the Queen, then go ahead like an adult and own it and say, I love the Queen and all of the shit that was done in our name, unfortunately, and with her as the figurehead. Do you understand? The British Empire, who's the head of state? Who is our head of state? It's the Queen, right? Now it's King Charles. They are the figurehead. They represent all of these things. So if you're okay with that, you also have to acknowledge Britain's disgusting colonial past. I found this very funny. The BBC, they posted a tweet saying, we take a look back at Queen Elizabeth II's long-standing relationship with Africa. Relationship? What does that mean? Are you talking about the massacres in Kenya, or, you know, the diamonds that she wears that was stolen from Africa? What exactly is this relationship made of? What does it consist of, oh boy? I can tell you that the British government and the Crown... Dairy Queen. Yes, the Crown take this very seriously. You know, because people think that, oh, you shouldn't say this now. And again, I'm not like, I don't want to speak ill of.
Like, I wouldn't go to the rest of the family and talk shit to them, you know, like that's their family member. But I would say, yeah, the other dude, what's his name? Prince Andrew. I would talk shit to that dude. But other than that, I would leave the rest of them alone. But I mean, you should be allowed to criticize her. She killed a lot of people. And she hurt a lot of people. You know, what the hell? Like, people just don't know the truth about her, or they just don't care. At this point, they don't care.
The dead. I'm talking about the monarchy itself, not her particularly. Yeah.
People like to be ruled, so because it devoids them of actually taking chances and having accountability and suffering consequences. So they rather have someone tell them what to do. So when shit goes wrong, they can just blame them.
Is the longest reigning monarch
or other people
in British history, so you have to focus on her and what happened when she reigned. And this is what happened. The British government,
one of the few left, man, they're dropping like flies, but yeah, Richard Manhurst is definitely based. It's on point.
Began destroying documents, colonial files, to hide what Britain had done in its colonies. So according to the National Archives and the Foreign Office, over 8,800 colonial-era documents have been eliminated by UK authorities in former colonies. The program was named Operation Legacy. It's really what it says on the tin. Operation Legacy. Whose legacy?
Operation Covering Your Tracks.
Whose legacy is that? It's hers. It's Queen Elizabeth. So this was in the 50s and 60s. all across the 23 British.
I think she came into power, I think, what, 63? Was that when she came in? Or earlier than that? If anybody can answer that in the chat. I don't know when she came into power. Somewhere around the 60s.
Occupied countries and territories that eventually became independent after World War II. And they're listed here. I mean, it's literally too much to list, but they told diplomats how to get rid of these files, and they had a station for burning these things with the Royal Navy base in Singapore and so on. So they take this very seriously. If there's nothing to hide, why were they destroying these documents? Doesn't make sense.
Of course.
I want to also talk about.
That's why we learn from them, I guess. It's like it's so similar, like how our governments work. How all the legal shit we do, it's like they do the same exact thing as the UK. UK do the same thing as we do.
The crown jewels, right? Because right now,
when they get caught, things disappear, documents get shredded, things go missing, things get redacted, things go back into classified information where you can't find them or can't get access to.
While the Queen lies in state at Westminster, they bring out all the crowns. She has 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken, right? And one of the most important is the
4 crowns.
Koh-i-Noor. I mean, Noor is light in Arabic. I suppose that's the root of Noor, and it means light. So that diamond, which you see here, that was stolen.
Yes.
The Great Star of Africa, that was also stolen. There's so many things. I mean, these are just a couple of examples. I literally do not have time to go through all of them with you because they are so outrageous. I just want to give you an idea. The Great Star of Africa, do you know how much that diamond is worth? $400 million.
Why is that jewel in Europe? It should be in Africa. Like, what is this going on?
Let me say that again. $400 million. That's one of...
You know how many people that could feed wherever she stole it from? It's crazy. She's been at 52? Okay, gotcha. All right, so she's been
one
at
diamond.
52.
And the funny thing is, you know what the Crown will say? They'll say, but these were gifted. We did not steal them. They were given as gifts. And then you have to ask the question, well, who gifted these things to you? Did they have permission to gift them? Did you threaten them? Were they coerced into...
It's a diamond like in the movies that everybody's trying to get. And they like the diamond from like... in those movies, everybody's trying to kill each other for it.
Gifting them. And then, of course, their whole narrative falls apart. And I don't need to, of course, bring your attention to all the things that we have locked away in London in the British Museum. I mean, just one example, of course, is the Rosetta Stone, right? This is crucial because it's helped archaeologists to...
Rosetta Stone?
Go through hieroglyphics and so on, right? It's very important. It's just one example. I mean, there are so many countries that demand that we return all these things to them, the Greeks, the Egyptians, etc., etc. I mean, the list is literally too long. I think after the Louvre, the British Museum is the largest in the world, and then you have the Met in New York, and of course, both of them are filled with stolen things.
Yeah.
Now, aside from the stolen diamonds, so in addition to that, you have things like the massacres that took place in Kenya. I just want to read to you a little bit from The Guardian. They talk about in this article about the suppression of Kenya's Mau Mau rebellion. This is a study called Britain's Gulag, and it chronicles how the British had battled this anti-colonial uprising by confining 1.5 million Kenyans to a network of detention camps and heavily patrolled villages. Shit. I mean, detention camp, concentration camp, it's the same thing at this point. Whatever you want to call it, it doesn't take away the horrors of it. In the British and Kenyan archives, meanwhile, there are documents missing or classified. Many documents relating to the detention camps were either absent or still classified as confidential 50 years after the war.
Why were they still classified as confidential 50 years after the war? Like, what was that? Was that a threat to their national security?
Okay, the British had torched documents before their 1963 withdrawal from Kenya. There were files about 80,000 detainees.
Or is that just to get out of the way from international criminal charges?
And at a minimum, there should have been 240,000 files, but there were only a few hundred left. So, I mean, you could more or less say the British destroyed 239,000 documents.
MJ? Welcome to the chat.
Again, when did this take place? 1963. Who was the Queen at that time? Queen Elizabeth.
Yep.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say, yes, I love the Queen and she's our head of state and she's our monarch and she represents us. And then when there's disgusting shit being done by British soldiers overseas, you say, oh no, we have nothing to do with that. The Queen has nothing to do with that. How dare you? Here's some pictures, right, I'm not sure how long I can show them to you because of the flagging, but here's some.
Look at yourself.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, this stuff is tough. Like, it's hard to show this stuff on YouTube, especially. They really ban all this stuff.
Lovely British crimes, right? Tripartite aggression against Egypt in 1956. So, of course, tripartite means the Israelis, the British, and the French, they attacked Egypt. That's because of the Suez Canal crisis in 1956. You know, Egypt was obviously occupied by the British as well. In Yemen, separation of the Yemeni population from the white colonists. I mean, this is like a drop in the water.
I mean, for those of you who've seen the videos on Twitter, I've seen the videos, and it's extremely disturbing what they've done to the people over there, which is absolute proof, but it'll be ignored because that's what Americans are good at. It's ignoring truths and facts because they don't want to stray away from their cultish idols.
Don't forget as well that, you know, during the so-called decolonization, what did you have? You had the British, you know, partitioning India into Pakistan in a totally British way. And then, of course, before that, you know, this is not when Queen Elizabeth was queen just yet, but you know, right before she became queen, you had also Sykes-Picot before that in 1916-17. These are things that happened so long ago, and they're still affecting people to this day. So I think it's very unfair to just scoff at that and say, oh, I have nothing to do with that. That happened 70 years ago. I have nothing to do with that. Yes, you do. You do have something to do with it. You're enjoying the fruits of it, right? But let's focus on the Queen a second. Let's go back to the Queen and the royal family. Do you know how much money they have? The Queen dropped dead just now, and she had 500 million. That's what they tell us.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we know about. 500 million. The whole royal family, $28 billion.
I doubt it's that low.
How do you get $28 billion without screwing over people, without committing genocide, massacres, colonialism? You can't do that. You think those 28 billion fell out of the sky? They got 28 billion because they rented out some fucking cottage in Cornwall? Yeah. Are you so stupid that you believe that? Come on. Look at this map, man. This is 1920. This is the height of the British Empire. 1/5 of the planet under British rule. That's a lot of stuff stolen. That's a lot of wealth stolen, and it went into the hands of the royal family. So don't come here and pretend like
they should read it out. The United States in that map too.
She's some innocent granny. She's not. She's not. I want to play you a clip now. This is from the Indian foreign minister. Listen to what he has to say.
I think a year ago, there was actually a very serious economic study which tried to estimate how much the British took out of India in value terms. And a very calculated math ended up, put a number of $45 trillion at today's value.
And you know what else they took away out of India? People's lives. And they took them out of Pakistan. They took people's lives out of Africa. Took people's lives out of North America. Took a lot of lives.
You heard that? He said $45 trillion. That's how much we took from India. I don't need to tell you about the Industrial Revolution, of course, and then how the British, you know, you hear this theme always.
Yeah, I think most of it got from the opium trade. What they did to China. Terrible.
Oh, we built railways for the Indians, like as if it was some kind of gift. No. The Indians paid for that. they had to buy British-made trains. So they were screwed over 50 times, you know. I mean, and all this money went to...
And I'm sure those railways were for, you know, to transport the goods and all the shit that they were stealing back out into Europe.
Not just banks in England, but of course part of it went to the royal family.
India's share of the world economy when Britain arrived on its shores was 23%.
Well, we carry signs now. I think they... Basically, money funnels back and forth. It goes into the U.S., they steal it, then it goes into the U.K., to the bank, and then it goes back out, siphons it back out to the United States. So yeah, it goes back and forth when they steal the wealth from these other countries. They wash it that way, you know.
By the time the British left, it was down to below 4%. Why? Simply because India had been governed for the benefit of Britain. In Britain's rise for 200 years was financed by its depredations in India. In fact, Britain's industrial
Basically, that's what we're doing now, the United States, by the way.
revolution was actually premised upon the deindustrialization of India.
There's no other way to put it. And I want to be very clear. Queen Elizabeth II was England's longest reigning monarch. Okay? Since the 1950s, she's been the head of state, the Queen of England, the Queen of Jamaica, the Queen of this and that, right? The whole Commonwealth. She never apologized for one single British crime. Never. You know, even if you want to make all these sorts of excuses about, the money comes from the sovereign grant and, this. No. She's the head of state. She represents Britain across the planet. Why is she going and visiting all of these African countries? Why is she going to visit to 20 African countries? Representing me, representing...
It was just to check up on them and maybe sew them a sweater, I think.
The rest of Britons. She does that in our name, right? So she could also apologize. She never did that. She never ever did that. She refused to take this opportunity. And
why would she apologize when she considers those people not human? Of course she's not going to apologize. They're not humans, they're animals to her. She just uses them and threw them out. Murdered hundreds of thousands of people just to steal the wealth. So she could wear a big jewel in the front of her crown.
I think this is absolutely disgusting that people think that, it's in bad taste to bring this up now. No. This is the perfect time. This is the fucking time to bring this up. It is the time. This is the moment to bring all of this up. And this madness that you see, this propaganda, this brainwashing, like her face plastered everywhere. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know how they make fun of North Korea?
So basically, that's done on purpose, by the way. They basically want you to mourn her, to basically blast her face out there as repetitive, I would say, programming. So as much as they can do it, as much as they can to get more people to idolize her, that keeps people basically going to be elite, like hold allegiance to Charles when he jumps in, which is probably what's going to happen. But I don't think he's likable as her. So I don't see him holding them really respect him in any way. I think things are going to be set stage for his son, and he's going to be the one that's like, they're all going to gush over, and he's going to be like their Obama,
all the time, like as if they have, the Koreans over there, they're weird and they have cult of personality and it's totalitarian. What the hell is this? This is not a cult of personality. Is this not a cult of personality? Blindly worshipping some woman who is stinking rich. Her family are obscenely, grotesquely rich. Money that comes from enslaved people, from plundered lands. What madness is this? What is this madness? And then people say,
similar to like why the Kardashians are famous. And I'm not bashing on the Kardashians, so I'm sure they're nice people, but it's like the same thing. Like, why are they famous? It's the same thing as the Queen. Like, why is she? Like, why do people care?
She only has a symbolic role. I'm sorry, man. It's not symbolic.
No, it's not.
Once again, she represents us. She's the head.
Now, it's not a symbolic role, isn't it? Like, I'm not sure because I don't know shit about UK policy process over there. But like, can't she step in, like, and just like change the rules when she wants to, or just like change something when she wants to, like if she wanted it changed? Like, wasn't that part of it? But I'm not sure. I'm not banking on that.
Head of state. Every bill that goes through Parliament requires royal assent, and once again, they say, but it's only symbolic.
Makes sense now.
Do they require royal assent or do they not? Does she have to sign the damn thing? She does. And then, of course, all these people that are being arrested now for protesting against...
So that's just like some bullshit they tell you. The monarchy has no power. Yeah, okay.
Monarchy. You know why they're being arrested? Because the police have a lovely new bill that I was complaining about, and many people were complaining about, and I told you about this. I reported on this a million times, and we are, of course, talking about the Police, Crime, Sentencing, and Courts Act. So police can just come up and stop you for protesting, even if you're one person, because you're being a nuisance. You're making too much noise. Dude,
they're going into overdrive over here.
Anyway, I just want to go back and say that I think it's ridiculous that people want to absolve the monarchy So not just Queen Elizabeth II, but Charles, all of them, absolve the monarchy of any
I don't know, aren't you think like he could just run in there and just cancel everything and just be like, I'm the king and that's it? Like dissolve parliament, like in Star Wars. That's how much I think of like the monarchy, like how retarded it is.
responsibility. This is outrageous.
I don't mean to say retarded.
This is
in a bad
completely
way, but
outrageous.
It's funny.
And it's grotesquely incorrect and historically illiterate.
Okay.
And she never apologized, and we should not forget that. And right now, it's complete cult of personality and propaganda in Britain. You know, everyone at the BBC is wearing black, and it's 24/7 coverage. And the funeral hasn't even happened yet. They haven't even had the funeral. When other countries do that,
They're gonna like stuff her and like put her like on a giant pole, and then people have to kiss her like dead corpse feet and shit. Like they're gonna do something weird.
people laugh at them.
Are they gonna like just stuff her and petrify her and put her like in a statue, and then people have to worship her over there? Like, what are they gonna do?
When they do this in Syria, they laugh at it. Oh, look at them. They're all mourning. Half is left. Oh, look in North Korea. And then when they do it in Britain, oh, the Queen. You've been had. You've been had. Wake up.
Hi.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nut stuff. That's just like crazy. Let me see if he has anything else to say on this. But yeah, the whole thing is nuts. Yeah, he's done. That's the end of the video. But yeah, it's just funny to see because I have I go to like I've ever seen that movie The Bronx Tale, where he goes to see Sonny, the kid, and he idolizes Joe DiMaggio, and tells the kid, like, you know, does Joe DiMaggio give two shits about you? And he's like, say, you know, you're out of money, go to Joe DiMaggio and ask him to help you. See what he says to you. Like, I look at this shit and I see people do that. I see people basically, like, the Queen would ever give you the time of day to really even give a shit about you when she's had hundreds of people massacred around the world. And if you died, and like whoever died before her death, or if she was still alive and you died, like, she wouldn't give two shits who you are. Your pictures wouldn't be all over the place because you're a nobody and she's royalty. That's how dumb this whole thing is with royalty, with monarchies. They are no different from anyone else. She's not an achiever. The guy who works at McDonald's, the guy who works in a fast food restaurant, the guy who works building things, carpenters, anyone, all types of labor are more important than her. She is nothing. She is not above anybody. She is a nobody. Stop with the damn worshiping. But, you know, it is what it is. So these are all manufacturing consent campaigns, and people fall for it, you know. This may sound really crazy, but there's one simple step for people to, if you ever catch yourself into a funk where you idolize some person who you think is somehow more important than you, just picture them on the toilet taking a dump, because the most prettiest girl in the world, the most handsomest guy in the world, they all do it. Like, they're human just like you. They're not more than you. If they have a king or a count or whatever in their title, don't mean shit. So it's the same thing with people in higher education. It's all baloney. Don't believe it. Talk to anyone. Like, I do this too. I mean, I met a few celebrities in my lifetime. I never ever where it's like, hey, how you doing? No, talk to them just like any other person, man. Never ever bothered. Sometimes I went in there, shake their hand, and walk away. Like, it was never like, hey, oh my God, look who it is. Like, just something that I've never been part of, and I don't understand how people can be like that, but, you know, it's just how it is. But that whole thing is just ridiculously stupid. But I found this, which I thought was
shit's
good.
about to get fucking real.
All right. So I want to take this and I want to add this to the stream because I think we can end the stream with this because it's only fitting to end it with I only believe Jimmy Dore. Yes. Well, I gotta tell you, there's very few people that are right now on anti-imperialist leftist voices that we can really trust. Sad to say, but you got the Gray Zone, Greenwald. You got RBN, Richard Medhurst. You got a few others. Indie left, of course. A few others that are, we can just trust them to do some good journalism. Eva Barlett, really follow her. She's doing some great work on Ukraine and things like that. But yeah, we have a lot of good people. There's a lot of us. I mean, you have JB Font and all the guys from RBN, Sabs. Hankel's gonna have foreign policy. I don't know about the whole MAGA thing. I don't really watch Haas. I don't really know Haas too much. But it's still got a lot of good voices out there. Don't fall for the petty shit. If you don't like one of their views, Whitney Webb, definitely Whitney Webb, man. Definitely check out Whitney Webb. It's like I go to her for a lot of that stuff. Also, I don't know if he's on the right, but if you follow Sean Atwood's stuff on Epstein, it's pretty good. He really goes in depth on that stuff. So check him out on the Epstein stuff. He really digs into like the Clintons back in the day. So definitely check him out. What else? I think there's more. I'm sure there's more I'm gonna forget. I don't know. I don't know about that. So let's end this stream because the almighty King, King Charlie Boy, King Chuck. Should I call him King Chuck? Did a speech to commemorate his mom's death. Very touching. And he had a lot of people in the funeral procession about to cry. And I thought we'd end the stream with this. Yeah, we'll end the stream with this. It's going to be very touching. You might get a little choked up from King Chuck when he does this speech. So let's go into it and let's listen to King Chuck talk about his mommy.
My lords and members of the House of Commons, I am deeply grateful for the addresses of condolence by the House of Lords and the House of Commons.
Wait, before we get into this, let me give my shout outs because I'm going to end the stream with this speech, this heart-wrenching speech. Shout out to INN News. Shout out to everybody in the chat. The Orange Duke. I'm going to go over your names, man. I'm giving you shout outs. MJ Anti-Imperialist Party. Let's see. Of course, India I said already. Reef Branlin, thank you for hooking the stream up. Kelly M. We got, I probably said MJ already. MJ, shout out. I'm gonna go through the chats here, get everybody. Let's see, who else do we have here in the chat? A dingo ate my baby. Shout out to you. My mouse sucks. Let me get you here. Let's see, who else? Human Love, shout out to you. Let's see, I'm going all the way up in my chats to get everybody who is in here tonight. Let's see. Shout out to Colin from Indie News. Check out Colin's channel, man. He does some good work. Matt, shout out to Matt. Thank you for jumping in on the stream. We carry signs now. I probably said you already, but shout out anyway. Shout out to everyone else at INN. Tara Reed, Blue Moon. Shout out to my man Warren, to my man Angel Rivera. Shout out to Lewis. Go check out Lewis on Facebook. Shout out to, of course, everyone at RBN, JB Font. And shout out to Misty. I never give you a shout out, and I'm sorry, but I'm giving you a shout out. Follow Misty. Please cover Assange. There's something coming up in Assange, so go over to her Twitter feed, get the dates, and check it out. They're going to be rallying, I think, in DC. So we need to free him and get him out. And if not, well, I'll hopefully if they bring him here, we can maybe get a team together to spring him out of it, out of custody. But who knows? But still sucks. I think once Assange goes, that's it, man. They get him. Say goodbye. Press is done. I think it's already done, but and that's it for now. So let's finish the video. We're gonna end this heart-wrenching speech by King Chuck. And thank you for watching, guys.
My lords and members of the House of Commons, I am deeply grateful for the addresses of condolence by the House of Lords and the House of Commons, which so touchingly encompass what our late sovereign, my beloved mother, the Queen, meant to us all. But I'd like to make one thing straight. Charlie's in fucking charge now, and shit's about to get fucking real. As I stand before you today, I'd like to address some of the tyrannical shit I'm going to do as king. First off, America, we're taking you back. You cunts have been free for far too long. I will not have it. Australia, you're going to become a massive fuck-off prison again. Fuck you, cunts. India, you're safe. We don't really want you back anyway. Also, I'm bringing that thing back where, like, the king gets to fuck your wife the day you get married, if he wants to. That was a cool rule. Anyway, cunts, adios. I'm out of here. My lord.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. This is Kris Legion. I'll see you again on the next live stream. Peace out.
Kris Legion.